All right, so I've got the main shaft in. And now I'm going to install the 3/4 shift rail here. So I'm gonna take some grease, stick it in there. And this is to hold the interlock in. This piece right here. And you simply just slide that in. And take your 3/4 shift fork. Sorry, I had to look at a schematic real quick. Okay. And it lines up on the shifter. So now I can go ahead and put in the 1/2 shift rail. Actually, before I do that, got to put in the pin first. All right, so I got the set screw into the 3/4 fork. Now I'm going to install the 1/2 fork. But first, the detent needs to go in. Nudge. There it goes. So that's in there. Okay. All right, so let's put in the 1/2 shift fork set screw. And it's on. All right. Now we just gotta get our snap ring. There we go. Okay, snap ring's on. All right, so now we're going to put the large snap ring on the bearing itself. Clean this up, burning myself. My snap ring pliers aren't big enough, so I have to use piston ring compression pliers. All right, next step. Need to put the input shaft in. A little more grease on here. A little oil on the bearing. A little oil right there. Just to help everything slide in a little bit better. There we go. All right. I need to put the big ring on. Here we go. Feels pretty smooth. All right, so now we need to get the counter shaft in. So we're going to flip this unit over. Gently. Oh, it's so heavy. There we go. All right. We're just going to use our fingers to align it. There we go. A little love tap. All right. And use some anaerobic gasket maker. Just gonna put a little dab right here. I know you can't see the hole, but the hole for the counter shaft. Just to make sure we prevent any leakage right there. All right. Can knock this in the rest of the way. All right, so the counter shaft is in. All right, so now we need to put the speedometer gear on. I got a new one. My old one was all chewed up. Like that. Let's see where my bubble goes. Here's your little ball bearing. Goes in right here. You just line that up. There we go. I have to tap it on a little bit. Go. Now we can put our last C-clip on. There we go. Okay. All right, so it's time to put the tail shaft housing on, but before we can do that, we need to put the gasket on. So I'm gonna smear some of this anaerobic gasket maker.
Let's see. This doesn't stick.
Okay, then we put it on the other surface, right on this side, and we'll put the tail shaft housing on. All right, the gasket is ready to go. I've got the tail shaft here. You already saw I put the bushing in and then the seal. I'm just gonna lube, actually I'll use some grease. Oops, just a little bit on the inside here. That'll help the yoke slide in and create a good seal. Okay. All right. This is the front retaining housing seal, just like with the tail shaft. I'm putting a little bit of RTV around the edge. I've already packed it with grease. Just lay it on in. Do that. Pound it in. You know the deal. All right. So now we can put front here, the bearing retainer. There we go. Just
These are the original bolts. Just clean them up.
all right. Then we just zip them down. There we go. Okay. All right, so these bolts get torqued down to 20 foot-pounds. Okay. So those are good. All right, so I just installed the Welch plug in the front here. I just need to expand it. Just use a punch. That's all there is to it. All right, so now we're going to put in our detents. Put a little bit of grease on this one. Put it in there. Followed by a spring. A little grease on that. Like so. And then we'll put our bolt in. It's got sealer on it. Okay, so now we can put our detents in the top. All right, so now I'm just going to put some sealer on the top plate. Followed by the gasket. All right, just going to smear this around. Okay. That's going to go like that. So I'm going to put more on the gasket itself. Well, you know how that goes. So here we go, just like that. And then we'll go ahead and put it on. All right, once again, I'm using the stock hardware. First two bolts I'm putting in are the alignment bolts. One goes here. And the other goes here. And you can just put the other ones in. So this has been a really fun project. You know, it's not too terribly difficult. Its weight and size makes it difficult, but the mechanical aspect of it, it's not terrible. If you're thinking about doing it yourself, go ahead, give it a shot. Parts are readily available in most cases. You know, you've got manuals online, you've got YouTube videos, other than this one. I mean, the world is your oyster. So don't be afraid, jump in, do it. Get a sense of accomplishment. Let's see.
What size is this? 10?
That is it, my friends. I didn't actually tell you what this was. This is a Ford top loader 4-speed. It's an RUG model. So it was, you know, I believe 66 and later. This one in particular came out of a 70 Mustang or Cougar, and it would have been behind a 302 or 351 Windsor. As it turns out, I'm going to put it behind a 351 Windsor that's going in my 68. So it should be a neat combination. You know, I've always wanted a 4-speed sort of muscle car, and I'm gonna get it one day if I can ever finish this build. I've got ADD. I was working on a quarter panel, now I'm working on the transmission. But in all fairness, I'm waiting on a quarter panel to come in for the passenger side of the car. It's been on back order. Don't know when it's going to come, but when it does, Virginia Classic Mustang will give me a call. So that's that. This is the yoke. Just simply slides into the tail housing. I'm just going to oil it up a little bit. But yeah, so go ahead, give it a shot if you've got one. See what happens. I mean, if it doesn't work, you can always take it apart and do it again. So there we go. It's in. It's looking good. Be right back. All right, I forgot to mention, these bolts right here, torqued down to 20 foot-pounds. Okay, so I torqued these down off camera. Transmission almost fell off the shelf and broke into a million pieces. Luckily, the only thing that got hit was my foot. So I'm sure my pinky toe is broken. All right. So like I said, piece de la résistance. The ID tag. I cleaned it up. And I got a new rivet for it, packed by Anna in Winchester, Virginia, AMK Products. They make some really nice hardware for Ford, Chevy, Mopar, good restoration stuff. You see that tiny little thing? Just pop it on. I guess you just tap it in with a hammer. I guess we're gonna find out. Put some schmutz on it. Yeah. Tightened right up. Just like stock. See if you can see this. You see that? Yeah. You know, it's the real deal. Yeah, and I got a few other things. I got a speedometer cable with the let's see, with the speedometer gear. What is this thing? Speedometer gear. So that'll go on the end of the speedometer cable. Slide in there, bolt down. I do plan on putting a Hurst shifter assembly on here. Once I do that, this thing will be ready.